Lisa, I'm a big fan of your work. Thank you for this interview. And the question I want to make to you is, how do you see the different levels of Bitcoin education? Like we have devs, we have new coiners, we have a lot of kind of people and levels of education needing to be done. And how do you see this spectrum and how to reach more people through education?
I think you've nailed the problem, Carol, in terms of education. Bitcoin is so big. It's so big, right? I almost feel like you could build an entire university with the liberal arts side that's talking about fiat and money and how we save and what inflation is and how the government works. And that's an entire you could do an entire university education on that side of the Bitcoin picture, right? And then there's the entire side of it of how do you just use it and transact with it? How do you accept it in your business? How do you save in it? The practical hands-on part. And then there's the whole section that I think I fall more onto, which is developer education, almost STEM, how do we build protocols and computer systems for decentralization and for money, right? So I see it as that's just enormously wide field with tons of different players at all the different levels, right? In the US especially, I think we have tons of people on the macroeconomic side that come from Austrian economics. There's people that are doing so much work on trying to get Bitcoin used places, right? How do we go out and teach people about how to transact with it, use it, make it part of their day-to-day kind of just spending and saving experience. Whereas I'm focused really hard on how do we take all this crucial information about how Bitcoin works at the protocol layer, right? And how do I make that really tangible and accessible and something that developers of all different types of experience, new devs to very experienced devs, and even maybe Bitcoiners who aren't devs but really just want to really understand and are curious about what's going on at the actual layer of the computer protocol. Yeah, so I kind of see it as a really big wide open field, and I'm focused on such a small little piece of it. Yeah.
And how do you see this kind of education? Do you think it's growing? How do you see this scenario?
Yeah, well, so Bitcoin is all I think most of us are working to teach people about Bitcoin because we want adoption, right? And so adoption kind of goes in every different direction. And as more people come into this space, we're gonna need more people teaching other people, right? So I think one of the big challenges is an educator in this space right now, even especially for my project, is how do I take the knowledge that I know, because I'm probably one of the few people that really understands how the protocol works, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to build curriculum that people can really learn about how the protocol works, right? So then they can take what they know about the protocol and go into their communities and tell other people, maybe less technical people, about how it works, right? So I think one of the current challenges and kind of how I'm hoping my project as well as other people's projects grow is really kind of getting people in early who are also kind of educators and also really want to share how Bitcoin works. Because one thing that I've noticed about Bitcoin, especially at the transacting level, but at the developer level also, is you really need, I would say, person-to-person help to get people to start using Bitcoin, right? And you really need that personal connection at any level of what you're learning, whether it's the macro side, whether it's the transacting side, whether it's the developer side. I really feel you need a personal connection to it. You need to know people that are working on it. You need people to know if you have a question or a problem. So the more that I can get other people to know the stuff that I know and feel comfortable and have mastered it such that they're their own masters of the information, empowering people to go out and then they can touch 10 more people. And so I think this is as an educator, I really kind of see the frontier of education in terms of building the next generation of educators as well.
Whoa, amazing. Thank you a lot for all these answers. Yeah. And see you next conference maybe.
Yeah, sounds great.